And incidentally, it makes me net qualified as well, but in mass communication and journalism subject. Okay, so presently I'm pursuing my master's in journalism and mass communication from Manipal itself. And I'm also, thanks to the coronavirus, I also got the opportunity to do my postgraduate diploma in media laws from Nalsar, Hyderabad. That's also ongoing. It's all online, so yay. And I also describe myself as a wannabe sociologist, and but really passionate about understanding the world scientifically. Manipal made me curious, but I was not able to articulate my findings, and that is why you need this session. So to be able to think exactly, to be able to share your findings later on with your friends, even let alone with the rest of the. Okay, so some questions before we proceed. Like, why are you here? And, what do you think when you hear the word researcher? And what are you expecting to learn? Can I just have some things from you? Can you guys hear me? Am I like speaking to myself here? Hello. I thought it was an interactive session. I know what's her name? Vanshika said to mute the mics, but then I'm sure people can unmute themselves. Guys, why are you here? ठीक है.
Hi, I am Pratna, and I'm here for I'm here to understand what research is. So initially, I thought, I mean, I still think this. So I come with this thought. Let's put it that way, because I'm here to learn. I come with this thought that research is looking into something that you find interesting in like looking into that thing or that topic or that area much more deeply and trying to understand everything that you possibly can understand and articulate it in a way that people in the future, if they want to look into that thing, or they can
Yeah,
also like,
you're having a
yeah.
nice idea. Okay, but which year are you from, and which subject are you right now studying?
I'm doing the course of BS Psychology Honors, and I'm in first year.
Okay, that's great. Anyone else? Or like, should I just expect that people are not going to engage?
Hello.
Yeah. Hi. Hi, Ashwin.
Uh, I am a first year student in the physics department. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm here to the same thing, understand the research because I think the future I see for me is in research and development in the field I choose
Okay.
in the subfields of physics. So yeah, it would be a nice introduction
All
for
right.
me, I think.
Okay. Let's hope so that I do not disappoint you guys. So I'll just carry on, and then later on, we can switch back because I guess it's taking time. All right. So, so that's it. We have. All right. So disclaimer for you guys. Okay. So this session is very general in nature. Okay, because I come from the social sciences, and as I said, I'm a wannabe sociologist, but then I'm pursuing my mass communication course. Okay, so this is going to be very general, oversimplified thing. Okay, and this is majorly targeted for the first year students or totally for those alien to this research. Okay, and I tried avoiding a lot of jargon. Okay, Ashwin said he's going to be in the R&D and he's not going to be an academician. Okay, so anyway, he doesn't need academic jargon. So have tried avoiding a lot of that. Okay, so the outline of this session is going to be this. We're going to start with the prologue, and then we'll see the research process. Try to make it as simple as possible. Just want to communicate to you the research process. Okay, because that is all. That's the starting that you need. Okay, do not need to know about the fancy things, any other things. I really want you to just internalize the research process by the end of this uh, session. And then we'll also just cover briefly what we left because of this oversimplification, and then of course the epilogue. And so let's start with chapter 1. All right, so prologue is the problem is, if you see the numbers, Manipal is a BTech majority university. So people think it's a BTech college. Okay, so they refuse the idea that it's a university altogether. Okay, where other departments also exist. And when Mehul contacted me, I really told him everything. Okay, that I'm from other field and stuff like that. So, but to the engineers out there, I really wanted to know that cloud computing, cloud storage had more to do with economics than virtualization. All the concepts of scalability and accessibility, okay, these do not come from the virtualization, but come from economics, okay? And encryption had more to do with politics than mathematics, okay? A, a government with great human resources and a lot of money, okay, can kill all your mathematics, okay? So doesn't matter. And you can create the best video compression algorithm only to realize that is mostly used for porn. Okay. Moreover, when you're not aware of the social reality that you are in, okay, then you use yourself as a yardstick to create new services, software, and develop new tech. And the problem with this is, while you're thinking that you're innovating, but what you're doing really is you're creating exclusion by being exclusive, really creating exclusive tech. And moreover, please know, you cannot change the world with algorithms. A lot of people I have met, and a lot of people in Silicon Valley also think that, by probably writing an algorithm we can change the world. That's not how it happens. Okay, moreover, technology is not neutral. Okay, in America, the hand drying or hand washers or whatever, right? The automatic ones, they are racist in nature because they cannot, they're not able to detect black people's hand. So, and do not work on technology that perpetuates marginalization of social groups, okay? And problem is that post 1991 in India, inequality rose because of the economic liberalization, and we already are living in a world with huge digital divide. Poor people do not have access to devices, and you can just shout out, okay, fine, geo, but then the reality is either people don't have the devices or they don't have the knowledge. Moreover, technique is universal, technology is not. So I really hope what I'm trying to just communicate today, the engineers may feel that it's useless for them, and you can totally leave my session. Totally okay with it. If you do not find any value, you can just leave it, not an issue. Okay, but I really hope that the research process that I'm communicating to you, while it may not benefit you with your AI or machine learning things, okay, but then the social reality, in the social reality for the people you're making, it will be. Okay, this is Pratap Bhanu Mehta. Okay, this is the guy in academics. Okay, he's the greatest intellectual of India, and he said that too many people are trying to change the world, too few are trying to understand it. And believe me, understanding the world is an honor. If you do not know how the world works, you cannot change it. If you do not know what are the rules are, you cannot be creative by breaking the rules. You need to know the rules before breaking them. Okay. So if anybody tells you that all academicians do is sit and do nothing and just give lectures, then you just tell them that too many people are trying to change the world. All right. So now the reason you are here, the research process. All right. So to make it relevant for you, I thought that let's try and take the example of university itself. So imagine that. I know a lot of people haven't got the chance to come in the university. That's why still you'll not be able to relate. But then imagine, okay, this is your first year after school, and you're very much excited to come in the university. You come here, and you start observing stuff. You start seeing people. Okay, they're very idealistic. Okay, they're joining the clubs. They're meeting new people, and then after 2 3 months, and people from 2019 can validate this thing. After a few months, they'll see their friends have smoking. Those people who are not smoking, they're also smoking cigarettes and everything. Okay, and this just makes you curious. Okay, what makes you more curious is that girls are smoking as well. Maybe you come from a small town where you haven't seen this side, or seen people, girls having that much freedom. So you're really curious about it, and you really want to now find out why it's happening. You really want to know the reasoning behind it. So what you do is you just read a lot of things. You go on the internet, you can just search for the articles, random Google stuff, nothing specific here. And then after reading a lot of stuff and after observing things, we come to the realization that it's in the modern cities that girls are smoking. Okay, and you come to this conclusion that women in liberal modern societies smoke more than the smaller conservative societies or cities. And you share these findings with your friends. You're like, dude, I have observed this, I've come to this reasoning. You logically present it to them, like, great, great insights. So fine, let's try to formalize this. What you did right now while thinking about it, you did a kind of research, but that was not formal, that was not structured, and moreover you cannot communicate it to the world. All you did was you communicated it to the to your friends in a language they understand. Okay, so the steps in research process are usually 7, and that's topic starts with the topic selection, then the literature review, hypothesis formulation, research design, data collection, data analysis, and report writing. Don't worry, we are going to do it step by step. Right, cool. So first we start with the selection of topic. Now the topic needs to, when you're selecting a topic, it needs to make you curious, or it needs to be maybe popular, or it should be well funded, or anything depending on your requirements. That's how you select a topic. Moreover, just don't take topic just because you can do it. You also need to examine the justification that whether it's relevant or not. Fine, you did take up this topic of women smoking in Manipal, but is it that relevant? Anybody cares? You were happy finding the insights, but does it really matter? That kind of justification. For me, I really want to do research that advances the knowledge. That's what academicians do. Ashwin probably want to research so that he can apply that research. Okay, first he research and then he develops solutions accordingly. He researches a problem or something like that. Okay, the purpose. So he's going to justify his research according to his requirements. So our topic was that smoking prevalence among women. Now, this another fancy term in research process is literature review. You, your faculty members would probably tell you review of literature किया क्या, कुछ ज़्यादा नहीं है, books और research articles पढ़ने को literature review कहते हैं. But why do we need to do it? Okay, because we need to know what other researchers have done in this area. What if other people have already done the research? Then what you're doing is literally time waste and meaningless. Again, possibly your question is already answers, but there might be some related questions that makes you more curious, that you had no clue about. You're exploring stuff here. You're also just filling out the knowledge that you do not have right now, because people have been trying to understand the world since ages. You have just started, so that's why you need to read. And here, one more important thing: review of literature never ends here. Okay, this is not that one step that ends here. It's going to be, you're going to be reading throughout your research process. Moreover, the techniques and models used by others. There's a methodology used in every research, okay? And you really need to know how the researchers did it. What kind of technique he used, what kind of tools he used, that kind of, everything is written in the research papers. And that really inspires you. You now know that which tools exist and how to use them maybe. And you get precision. When you start with your research, you do not start with absolute certainty. Okay, the things are very blur. You cannot contain them in a language, so you try to find other people who have already contained that thing in a language, and you find terms, words, and the language to be more precise. Okay, formulation of hypothesis. Just okay, fine, I'll tell you later on. Assuming possible relationships. In our case, the Manipal example, the relationship was of modern liberal societies and smoking, women smoking. That was the relation. So that's what we assume. But when your faculty really tells you, what is the hypothesis, just do that. They're really expecting you to be exact, articulate your expectations in a very, very formal way. So the definition of hypothesis is a statement of the relationship between two or more variables. We are just looking here for two variables. Okay. I just want to do something here. Know the difference between this and this. One is singular, the other one is plural. Okay. The former one is plural, the latter one is a singular. So when you read analyses, analysis, single, plural, please do not interchange stuff. Thesis, that kind of things. Okay. So our hypothesis is women in modern liberal societies smoke more than conservative societies. That's our hypothesis, nothing fancy. People just want to have a lot of jargon, academic jargon. Research design is this next step. You really want to now deal with how you're going to, what kind of evidence are you going to present? Okay, how your research is going to be either usually divided into two. Okay, either it's qualitative research or quantitative research. There's also mixed research, but then usually you deal with these two. And a lot of people from AI or engineering will deal with the quantitative research. People from the social sciences will deal with the qualitative research. Okay, so qualitative research. Researchers are observant participants. In our case, we were the observers and not the participants, but we were the observers. We didn't really do quantification there. We could have, we didn't. And it is open-ended. You cannot be exact out here. And people love these days is quantitative research, thanks to the computing, AWS, and whatnot. Statistics, people love statistics. I hate statistics, by the way. Again, collection of data in numerical form involves measurements and statistical analysis. Okay, so before I proceed, I'll just provide you with an example. I'm very much interested in labor studies and development studies. And labor studies usually deals with statistics. It's all about numbers, and you'll hate it. Okay, it's supposed to give you insights, but then you'll never be able to find that much insights, and you cannot map those statistics onto the reality. So when I was reading about the labor situation in India, and when I saw the labor, and I was not able to think, laborers are desperate, informal laborers. Okay, they are desperate. They don't have any job security. Okay, they do not have any social security, and They're worried every day whether they'll get a job, wages, and all or not. Okay. So if you really look at from the quantitative side, all you see are the numbers, not the emotions or anything. You'll not be able to feel the labor situation. Okay. But from the anthropological side, you do not deal with quantitative side. Okay. You do not deal with numbers. You usually describe them, their problem. So one of the books that I read described the labor situation from ground up and told that how capitalism was inflicting those harms. That's how he connected, and it was beautiful. I almost cried actually. So again, in research design, you stipulate methods, tools, and techniques, but majorly you have to deal with those qualitative and quantitative sides. The next comes is the data collection, because Sherlock said, "Data, data, data. I cannot make brick without clay," which is sensible. So when you are in the data collection process, you really need to deal with the fact that you cannot comprehend or record everything that you want. Okay, you come with, if you do, if you record everything, then it's called a population. Okay, and when you think of population, you usually think of human population, and that is incorrect. Population is anything, objects, events, anything, animal population, flower population, it can be anything. Okay, depends on your data. All right. But the problem is, let's say if I'm researching something in Manipal on students, and I really don't have time. My faculty has given me some 5 days or something. I cannot expect to collect the data from 5,000, 6,000 kilos at one point. It's not worth it, right? So what I do, I instead of taking the entire population, I ask only how many students. Instead of asking 5,000 students, I ask, let's say, 100 students. It's doable, it's efficient, and it's going to give me decent results. Not the exact results, but in decent. Okay. So that small thing is called a sample. Now, with the census sample, the problem is that it can be biased instead of being representative. If I really want to, let's say I have this question in my mind that, Manipal is spending more money on the engineering books instead of the psychology or mass communication, that, library is itself biased. Okay. And it's defeating the idea of university. And, I asked 100 people what are their views. ना इफ यू आस्क इन मणिपाल, ओके मणिपाल के गेट से सब है ना बच्चे बाहर आ रहे हैं, हॉस्टल की तरफ जा रहे हैं. यू नो आस्क वन पर्सन की, हे टेल मी योर व्यूज अबाउट इट, डू यू थिंक यू आर गेटिंग द ऑल द बुक्स और नॉट. देन यू रियलाइज कि हर दूसरा तीसरा बंदा ही इज अ बीटेक वाला. So that will make that sample bias. So your job is to make it representative. How to make it representative, the sample, again, not going to deal with that in this one. Okay. Because then it will defeat the purpose of this session. Okay. Also, one more thing, sample and this thing. In India, the census actually counts the entire population. It's a very huge effort, takes a lot of money, takes 10 years. Okay. That's why it's not efficient, but it's needed. That's why it's done. And there's another organization within the government of India. It's called National Sample Survey Office. And they deal with, more frequent stuff. Some things that can be, their data matters, and they only take the sample. They do not count the entire population. And they're equally valuable so that you can make policy decisions. Okay, so recently this news came up. Consumer confidence has, gone down. RBI said. Well, how the hell did they know that it has gone down? So they said that, we took a survey. Okay, field interviews were possible, and telephonic interviews elsewhere, and that's how we came to know. But then I really want you to look at this. Very precise, very much defined duration कि हमने इस वक्त से इस वक्त ही लिया है. Okay. 13 major cities. That's how they're making it representative. The 13 cities were Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Bhopal, Chennai, Delhi, Guwahati, Hyderabad, Jaipur, Kolkata, Lucknow, Mumbai, Patna, and Thiruvananthapuram. That's how they were making it representative. North, east, south. Okay, everything covered. We took 5,319 households. That's their sample. इससे ज्यादा घर households आपके शहर में होंगे. Okay. Now this sample is used to tell the consumer confidence of the entire nation, and it is legit. It is valid. Okay. Moreover, I really also want you to notice one more thing is this households. It's the unit here, not the individuals, not anything else. The unit here of measurement is the household. Okay. And the perceptions, expectations, employment scenario, income and spending. So these are the parameters on which they ask. So you really need to define your parameters as well. Okay, you need to define your unit. Now let's assume that we are again researching something on Manipal and we are asking something from the students. Okay, but then when you publish your findings, people will ask you, what is a student? So you need to define your student as well. So you say student is anyone who's doing their undergraduate, postgraduate, or full-time PhD from Manipal, but definitely not anyone doing their diploma, certificate courses in languages, which happens in Manipal, by the way, or part-time PhD. All right, analysis of data. Organizing your research data in terms of research design. Okay, qualitative, quantitative, nothing fancy. Data analysis, thanks to big data and all courses are there. Organizing data is relatively easy right now. Now examine data to see if your hypotheses are confirmed or rejected. Okay. So in our case, the hypothesis is, I'll tell you in the next slide. Okay. We said that, women in modern liberal society smoke more than the conservative society. So we said this is the relationship. Okay. But in research, what this relationship is having a very specific term. And for that, I have actually made this effect also. It is so important. So it's called a correlation. Okay. They coexist somehow. It's different again. It's not just a relation, it's a correlation. They exist side by side. Okay. And either you can stop your finding there. You can say they are correlated. I have, found something valuable, a correlation. Or you can go a little further. And this correlation, the next thing is called correlation coefficient. Okay. This is usually happens in statistics. It shows how strong or weak. Okay. Maybe the correlation is weak or very strong. And it is measured in -1 to +1. Again, not going in that. All you need to right now know, one, correlation, and the second is correlation coefficient. Correlation coefficient shows the strongness or the weakness of the link. In our case, after we analyzed the data, we said, there's a positive correlation between, modern societies and women smoking. Writing the report and sharing the results. You have to write a detailed report, very dry, very detailed report, including the methodology, how you did it. That's the major part. Your research is of value, but then it's not an academic research if I cannot replicate it. You say it, that's on you, but then if I have the same data and if I'm after following your methodology that you have written in the research paper, if I cannot replicate the same findings or come to the same conclusion that you have come to, then your research is not valid. So that's why you need to detail everything, that how I did it, step by step stuff. in the methodology section, there is usually a methodology section. You have defined your unit, okay? You have defined your unit, and this is how you have measured. This is what you have measured. This is my data. And if I do an analysis and come to the same conclusion, then your thing is accepted. Your research is valid. Okay. Moreover, show how your findings are related to existing. The thing here I need to tell you, for example, it isn't majorly for academic research. Ashwin doesn't need to tell how is these related to existing theories or literature. There are different ways to write a report. Academic researcher will not write it the same way. For example, when you're writing thesis, you need to write 200, 300 pages. When you're preparing just a random stuff, random research, of course, you'll not write that. You'll write maybe 10 pages. But the point is same. You need to be objective. You need to give all the instructions. Okay, that this is how to do it. These are my new findings. And then you share it with the world in a language that they understand. You do not just write a story. Okay, so we came to the conclusion that, hey, there's a positive correlation between women smoking in a modern liberal societies. But let's say Mehul or Vanshika go to the village side in vacations, and they find that elderly women are also smoking, and then they come to me and say, hey moron, you're incorrect, your findings are just incorrect. So either they can say that and I take their word for it, but then their credibility is nothing, their value is nothing of their findings. They are just telling their experiences. What they need to do now is go through the same process again and then deny my or refute my findings with their findings. And by the way, in the example that I gave you is really terrible. Okay, hold on. Oh, by the way, yeah, sharing the result is an important professional obligation. If you just do all the research and say, okay, I'm not sharing these stuff with anyone, then you can of course do that, but then that's very terrible from your side. You need to be a nice human being. Okay. So, but then what the example that I gave you is a really terrible one, by the way. Don't take it seriously, especially the girls. Uh, People in modern societies, or the youngsters in modern societies, smoke not because they are liberated, but because they're insecure. There's nothing wrong. So if you come to Manipal and start smoking, it's mainly because you're insecure, and and that later on that becomes habit. So the findings that we did, is it valuable or significant about girls smoking in Manipal? We coming to these findings, we publishing it. It's not. Nobody cares about Manipal. Nobody cares about that university with 5,000 people, really. But what really matters in research is coming to generalizations. If I go to 300 university and find the same pattern that I found in Manipal, and then I publish it, that matters. That is really the highest goal of research, usually, to come to generalizations. In research, generalizations are healthy. Not in everyday life, but in our academics, it is extremely. So if you're able to find generalizations and publish it, that really matters. But here's a warning for you. Stereotypes are not generalizations. You see girls driving and you say, I have seen every girl driving bad. And by the way, बहुत लोगों से सुनने को मिलता है मुझे कि लड़कियां तो गंदी ही चलाती है गाड़ियां. So you've seen a lot of instances, and you come to the generalization, so-called, that girls drive bad. That's not a generalization, that's a stereotype. Oh, because I can come up with some evidence and give it to you that there are great drivers, women drivers. Okay. And by the way, a lot of accidents happen because of men, not women. So what we left, quite a lot actually. Sampling methods. We did not covered random sampling. Okay. I told you how to make a sample representative. Okay. I did not cover random sampling, systematic sampling, stratified random sample, because it doesn't matter right now. All that matters is you get to know the concepts such as these. These things you can find in a book, and depending on your requirements, you will actually do this. So that's why there's no point of covering it right now. The sole purpose of this presentation, this session, is to internalize that research process that I just covered, the process, the steps in it. So you do not get scared when somebody tells you, hey, I have an idea, let's do research. At least now you know how to go about it. Okay. And the second thing we did not cover is theories versus models. A lot of you from the ML and AI will know and love and crave for models, not theories. But let me tell you, theories is something I love. Theories give you parameters. Theory guides your research. If you do not have any theory, then you will be lost, overwhelmed by the data or something. Even in love, if you do, if you are into academics and read about love, there's a theory of love. It's called a bestowal theory, that people impose characteristics on people they wish to know but don't know yet, something like that. So it gives you a parameter, things to look out for, things to be aware of. We haven't also covered types of hypotheses. Null hypothesis, alternative hypothesis, doesn't matter at the moment. Believe me, it doesn't. And anyway, it's a full semester course which covers all these, and I don't think so that sharing it right now matters. Softwares and tools to aid research, I haven't covered. Again, not something you want to know at this point of time. Something which usually hard sciences people, engineers are obsessed with is positivism. Agar मैं देख सकता हूँ, then only it's true. If I can see God, then only I'll believe that there is a God. Okay, great. I lost my connection. So that's called positivism. It's in extreme contrast to what is known as phenomenology, right? The phenomena and all. Okay, positivism is simply that. If I can see it, then only I'll believe it. And that's a little problematic thing. And there's a new thing called neo-positivism, that if I can mathematically put it and compute it, then only I'll believe it, the variables and all. So I haven't covered that also. And of course, I have also not covered how to write an article or thesis. It's about the process. Learn the process first. Findings you can communicate later on. You guys are well read. You know how to read and write and everything. So that's not going to be an issue. How to cite and all, these things can come later. Okay. Research ethics and plagiarism. Plagiarism I have also not covered. Plagiarism is a great issue in research. इधर उधर से लोग चुरा लेते हैं, दूसरे रिसर्च पेपर से कॉपी पेस्ट कर देते हैं. That's not done. Your research needs to be original. And if you're taking something from other papers, you need to reference them, that this is where I have taken this particular line from. And if you do not, if you, what do you say, write a research paper and give it to this Manipal, let's say, okay, I have researched and this is my PDF, take it. And if they find, let's say, 10% of plagiarism, then it's rejected. You have to redo it, kind of thing. That's the rule. PhD में तो PhD मिलेगी ही नहीं तुम्हें. You need to be below certain 6% or something. You cannot plagiarize. All right, so epilogue, the last one. Okay, this one I have put it because a lot of people are way too romantic about research. Okay, they have romanticized research so much so that they only work hard. They only collect data or something like that. That's not the case. You need to know your aim. You need to know your focus on your topic, and then work smart, better, and harder. In that order and not in reverse. Okay, don't work harder, better, smarter. That's stupid. Again, we'll come back to Pratap. Pratap said that the highest ideal is contemplative mind. Okay, so Don't be desperate to read everything. You don't know anything right now. People have been coming up with theories, with stuff which we have no clue about, and we haven't been provided books in our library. Okay, so we don't know thing. Plus, our faculty is also not that much competent. So keep on reading. Assume you don't know a thing in this world, and don't worry, you'll not run out of problems. You might be tempted to research on certain problems right now because they are right here in front of you. You find the potential, but don't worry if you let them go also. Regardless of human progress, regardless of human development, there will always be problems present in human society at the global, local, or even personal level. So you'll never run out of problems. There's no perfect tomorrow coming up. Have the purity of your conviction. If you are convinced, do you want to go and research, and you have the purity of your beliefs, only then do it. And by the time you leave the university, have the research aptitude, at least. If not any journal, anything you have published, at least have the aptitude. Don't be inept at research. And I know a lot of you haven't entered university yet, but when you do, you'll still have 3 years or something. Make the most out of it. Embrace the idea of university. It's not just about skills. Skills are one part of it. Read philosophy, go to different departments for that matter. Talk, discuss. Okay. And I guess that's it for today. But yeah, by the time you leave the university, please, I really want you to think that life is not a ladder to climb, but a forest to discover, really. So yeah, say hello to me. I am on Instagram at mrdcoin. You can also WhatsApp me at 7568942654, and that's my email ID if you want. Just say hello. If you didn't like the presentation, you can just tell me there itself. If you want to abuse me, do it there. If you like it, tell me there. And if you have anything else, you want to ask me anything about, like, anything I'm saying, you can totally ask me. Uh, and yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, Mehul, please take over. Vanshika.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mohan. Every bit of information piece that you have shared is worth keeping. We are open to questions related to today's session now, so feel free to unmute yourself and ask doubts.
Hey Mohit, like you talked about that the biggest ideal is a contemplative mind, right?
Yeah.
But I'll go back from the starting. Like people say they're a big reader and an avid reader. Simply, I'm not. I'm not such a big of a reader. I gather my information from other places. So you say, I mean, read, but what could you? How do I gather that information? What to read and what not to, and where do I collect that? I mean, people say
That's
read,
why,
but I don't know what.
see, that's why you need a guide, really. That's why, again, the very concept of guide is this. They will just guide you. So
Exactly.
really, your problem is genuine, no doubt about that. But here's the two things. You really need to first thing is to explore. Okay.
Yeah.
You need to explore everything and then come to some kind of blurry idea that, yeah, maybe this is what I want. Okay. And then you start to discuss with people who are already in that field, or maybe in your department or something. Be inspired from them, or just talk to them. They will then guide you that, hey, this is precise thing you're looking for, or this is a book that you really want to read right now. What is your interest, Ashwin?
You could say ranging, uh, basically physics, philosophy, and literature. And literature, not in the sense that I like to read books, but I like to read the history about it. If that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, that makes sense, and that's where being in a university is, an advantage instead of being in a college where it's just about one discipline. Okay, being in a college is something nice. Especially in Manipal, what happens, they give you this open elective thingy where you are supposed to take a subject outside of your department. So for example, I took this subject called eco philosophy, totally unrelated, koi rishta nahi hai, theek hai? But that was one of the greatest things I read, or I got to know. See, again, you must have heard that Steve Jobs saying, right? You connect the dots looking backwards, not forward. So what you can do is have faith. First thing is have faith. Keep on exploring, have faith that ultimately it will all make sense. And do not be desperate in the university. Do not be insecure and do not be desperate. Just keep on exploring everything. Go to philosophy department, read philosophical books or something like that. Okay. And then when you will read, you will find some crappy material, leave them. Not an issue. Find alternative stuff, but keep on exploring. You need to, the only thing I can say right now is have faith and keep on exploring. And if you're able to find some really good person you're inspired from and you are in contact with them, please do that.
Okay. And
I hope
this is
that
not much of a question, but a request.
yeah,
Like you talked about that you read that how capitalism affected the situation of the laborers, right?
yeah,
Could you
yeah.
just tell me more briefly about it? I was actually a little amused by that, if you want to.
Depends on how on others as well. I mean, if they want to listen, then only I can say. Otherwise, they'll get bored. No.
Yeah. We can do that
But then,
later. That's not an issue. I just wanted to say that it was really
yeah, I'll
amusing.
just in case it's okay, fine. Mm. If other people don't ask the questions, then I'll just answer this one. Okay.
Okay. And anything you'd like to suggest right now for me to read? Because academics is different. I can find out physics books on my own. That's not an issue. But like
Yeah.
philosophical books, I cannot find. I read one, I read 2 pages, then I get bored.
Okay, I'll tell you. I'll give you something good. Okay, these are my. Uh, okay, can you see them? Yeah. Okay, these are what are called short introduction books from Oxford. Okay, so Indian democracy, a very short introduction. Natural disasters and Indian history, a very short introduction. Okay, Oxford publishes very authoritative stuff, extremely authoritative. Okay, they don't just go around and get any author. And a lot of things made sense to me after reading them. Okay, these short introductions, they're very heavy. They're short, but they're very heavy on you. Okay, but then they have this certain framework of introduction itself. So there's a short introduction on what do you say, capitalism as well. There's a short introduction on Indian philosophy, everything that you can imagine. So just start with that if you really want to. They literally
Could you
introduce you
could
whatever
you
they
repeat the
write.
title?
Oxford short introductions.
Okay.
Yeah, you can just. I'll tell you. Look, I think because the reason is I would have given you a website, but I think it's recording, and I do not want to give you a pirated website while it's recording.
I'll just text you, okay?
Yeah,
For
sure
that.
thing. Yeah. Anyone else?
Hello.
Hi, Abhilasha.
So I have a question that in the beginning you said something related to cloud, that engineering is also related to this. So can you just elaborate on that?
Yeah, no, I said economics is more related to the cloud. Abhilasha, which like field are you from, and which year?
CC,
Okay, and first year itself, right now?
second year.
Second year. Okay. So cloud computing, the virtualization technology, I guess, was in the existence from the big a lot of time before AWS EC2 came or S3 came, as far as I remember. Okay, but then it is the what do you say? Economies of scale is a concept. Okay, in economics, the more you scale, the lesser the cost. That's the point. And Amazon utilized that concept, and by using virtualization they were able to do it. So they said yeah, how am I supposed to tell you this? You have any clue about economics? Just telling you, I have to ask you this.
This year only I've studied economics. Otherwise, I had no idea about economics.
Okay, the economies of scale is a concept. Okay, and cloud really works on that. That's all I can, right now hint it to you, because if I right now speak, then it is going to be another 1 hour to just speak on that. Literally, just work. What's the one thing that happens in cloud is you'll hear the word scalable, 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 and that's an unrelated to technology. That's all about economics at work. The reason they're able to provide you with servers, cheap servers, not dedicated ones, and they're literally providing a lot of cheap services because they have a lot of consumers. That's why they are able to scale so much, and that's why their costs are cheap. That's the sole thing. A lot of consumers, lot of scalability. One data center, maybe to just assume they have one data center and they're able to provide it to everyone. That's how they're able to keep their costs down, and that's why they were able to pass on the benefits to the consumers. So cloud computing I had all to do with economics. Just that's why I hope that made sense. Please say.
Yes.
You
and
know
al-
what? I'll just. Huh?
and also, what are philosophical subjects that I can relate to for engineering, or you can say for CC?
Just read the philosophy of physics itself. CC. Okay. Yeah, you do not need to go right now in the philosophy directly. Okay. There's a pyramid of knowledge called wisdom comes at the top of that pyramid. First, you need to gather all the knowledge first. Okay. You cannot directly go to the philosophy. Philosophy is the fundamentals of everything. And first of all, philosophy, if you read philosophy, you're going to detach from your surroundings. And that's a very scary experience. You do not want to do that right now at this age. So don't think about philosophy. Think economics for you. Think politics. How the regulations of government ultimately affect the. For example, in Kashmir, they have put up a 4G internet is not allowed, and how is that affecting the web applications? How is that affecting the access pattern of things in Kashmir, for example? And how government can just in a click do stuff that you cannot even imagine, and how is that going to impact your field? That's how you can relate. Just be interdisciplinary.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Um, so I'm like really interested in like social sciences because I'm from
Okay.
psychology and that kind of makes sense. So I have this problem of remaining objective. So like I start researching about the IS, I'm like, this is not cool. And on the other hand, I'm also like, they were noble people, so they probably were also like really bad to people who are not in that class or something. And it's like a real problem of being objective. So I don't know how to do that. How do you do it?
You have to let go of the things that you value the most, really. Okay, I let go of the concept of respect. Okay, that made me very much in. Yeah, ultimately, everyone is opportunistic. Okay, do not need to have any relation to them. You can expect that it's all temporary. Sab maya hai, right? Sab maya hai, leke chal lo. And uh, how to be objective? Yeah, ये तो talent है यार, to be honest. You have to let go of your emotions. If one way to do is live for a higher ideal, higher purpose. If your highest purpose, for me, my highest purpose is advancement of knowledge. And if I have to let go of my friends, by the way, I don't have friends. I don't want to keep them. Okay. Because I am so much into the knowledge value thing that I am usually involved in my books. I'm usually very objective, very much rude. So live for a higher purpose, know your higher purpose, live for an idea, and then everything will usually take care. I think that's how I did it, so I think that's how you can do it.
Yeah, wow, that kind of makes sense. Yeah, thanks.
Well, anyone else? By the way, did this session add any value to you, or was it? Do you think? Be very honest, be very blunt. Do you think it was just you knew stuff? He's just blabbering what like?
I'll just say one thing, Mohit, that for the time I've been in this university, I've attended many seminars, and this was the most
Yeah.
useful.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I think I joined it like I'll keep it. I thought that I'll keep it in the background and I'll do my work, but I couldn't do my work listening to you. I had to listen to you.
Thanks. Yeah. Thanks a lot. That's nice compliment. Others, I have to assume that it was so sad, so dry. Yeah, I have to assume sad life.
I really liked your presentation. I was about to like ask you later what did you use to make it? Because it's
Keynote.
really
Yeah,
interesting.
absolutely.
Right. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll just answer Ashwin's question before. Again, Ashwin, your question was how capitalism affected. Can you be precise with your question?
I just want to learn more about your experience, what you learned about it. Nothing more.
Well, again, what the problem with capitalism that it breeds inequality, okay, and it really makes people insensitive. There are certain things that you need to regulate your greed, and that capitalism does not allow. It says more, more, more. And here's the thing, uh, just telling you. By the way, do you really think that Bangalore became uh, there's something inherent in Indian engineers because of which we became IT major in the world, IT service provider? Nothing. Okay, it's mainly because of the situation, social situations, and economic liberalization of 1991, which allowed capitalism to kind of come in India and breed inequality. So the problem again, inequality in India rose from 1991 when the government lost all control over many things intentionally. And again, do you really want to live in that kind of world where rich are getting rich, poor are getting poor? So what happened in the case study was of Gujarat, the one I'm talking about. Okay, and it showcased there's a brick making factory where a lot of child laborers were just there uh, doing work. One of the child was very much ill, and she was still doing the work, and he was describing it, how she was running from here and there with a lot of weight of the bricks, and they were not allowed any breaks or anything like that. And when you just read that, you will cry, even though it's very much objective, very much objective. He's saying that, and then he justifies logically how capitalism is the reason behind all this. So that's all.
I think this ideal doesn't work, but the breeding ground for communism too is equality. But I don't think communism has ever worked.
Who's saying? Look, see, the problem is when I say I hate capitalism, people say you love
No, no,
communism.
I'm not assuming that you prefer communism over capitalism. I'm just saying that none of them work. Then what's the point?
So what do you think? What should work?
I don't know. I'm not. I think I'm not smart enough to give my opinion on that. Like what should work. That's why I'm asking you. I want your opinion. You're more learned than me.
So everyone lives with with an ideology, even if they are not aware of. You are right now
Okay.
probably living with
If you
ideology of
want, if you really want to know my ideology, maybe ranging somewhere between socialism and capitalism. Like social democracy is a term I think which lies kind of in the middle. I think
okay.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Honestly.
Okay. Then find out one, explore yourself, man. But then you really need to one day come up with the justification. See, here's the cool part about university. Explore as much as you want, because once you're in a career, you will not be able to think at all. All you'll do is 9 to 5 job, that's it. And you'll never be able to discuss things that truly matter to the humanity or to this earth.
Yeah, that's the thing because people around me are only discussing what job they'll get after the university. And I just want to learn. I don't care what job I get or what happens in the future. Something will happen, I know.
Yeah. So we'll discuss this probably later, I think. Anyone else? Just that's it. Anyone else? Any question? I mean, I have given you the number and all, but then, oh my God. So, okay. Mehul, Vanshika, Eman, what to do now? Yeah. Uh-huh. So did you listen to the entire thing though? You're just you're just being generous. Okay, you as a president, you're just being generous. That's your job, I see. Thank you so much. So what, Priyanshi, Shrishti, Hia, Atharv. That's it, right? Done? No, you guys don't want to ask any question? Are you even listening? Yeah. They have just put on the they have just joined the meeting and then that's it.
Hello.
No,
Yeah.
sir, we listened
I-
to the whole session. It was just amazing.
Thank you.
Really very well. Yeah.
Was it Eman, right? Who just
Yeah,
spoke?
Atharva,
hi
yeah.
Mohit, this is Aman.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I
No,
just
that's okay. That's okay. I just had one question. Like,
sure thing.
as you said that you're a wannabe sociologist, and
Yeah.
as far as I know, sociologists investigate the structure of groups and societies and how people interact with these, right?
Yeah.
So, you know how psychology is also all about studying human behaviors revolving around their different life situations as they are exposed to them. So
Yeah.
I want to know your perspective about that thin line when a psychologist carries a research and when a sociologist does that.
Here's a I when I started to explore my vocation, I really was confused because I had no one to guide me. So I was really confused whether I'm interested in psychology or not. Because here's the problem. If we, within psychology, there's another subject known as social psychology. Okay. Now the thing is, I was extremely confused, and later on, I was introduced to this thing called sociology. I come from a commerce background, so the
Yeah.
problem is I never heard the
Okay.
term sociology. And later on, I really cried a lot. Then why was I not introduced to this subject? Okay,
Okay.
so psychology puts individual at the center. Okay, and sociology
Yes.
puts the aggregate of individuals at the center. The individuals do not matter in the sociology, the group itself matter,
Yes.
while the in psychology the individual matter. And for me, for example, I do not care about the individual per se. Maybe others do, I do.
Okay.
And so the
Okay.
problem was how to delineate the line between social psychology and uh, sociology. So in
Yeah.
social psychology, from the point of view of the individual, you're looking at the society. While in the
Okay.
society, you're totally reading the what do you say, understanding this what do you aggregate group in itself. For example, I'll just give you one example. It might not make sense, but this is one example that I like, and I know this example was unavailable in psychology or social psychology. There's a theory of crowd. Which year did you join in, by the way?
Last year. I'm a second year student right now.
Okay, so probably you're not aware. हार्डी संधू सिंधु उसके जो भी नाम है उसके कोई था क्या
No.
आप उसके नो ओके so
No,
there
I
was
haven't studied about
this
him.
so there's this concert that happened in Manipal and उस दिन डंडे पड़े थे बच्चों को पुलिस से ठीक है because कुछ हुआ था and उस दिन there was this so next day the students did a protest okay and it was a crowd. So in
Okay.
in sociology, there is a theory of crowd, that within a
Okay.
crowd, the type of elements that you'll find. One who's an active participant, the other one who's just an onlooker. Okay, these are, in social psychology or psychology, you will not find this theory. And the sociology wala part is more, if you really want to focus on the human development part, you're into public policy and all, you will focus on sociology, not psychology.
All right.
You
Okay.
really, you really want to know how the crowd works. You do not need to know why individuals behave in the crowd the
Yeah.
way they do that.
Yeah. It's just like getting an overlook of something, while psychology is getting more into the deeper of an individual.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Okay.
then again,
Thank you.
don't take my word for it. I am again,
No, no,
I
I
knew.
clearly said that I want to know your perspectives because I really liked your session. It was amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. But then again, I'm saying I was convinced from the beginning that it's psychology is not something my forte. I hate
Yeah.
it. I not hate it, but then I don't like it
Okay.
at least. Okay.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
because I was not able to decipher, for example, the world around me because
Yeah.
of the
It
because of
happens.
psychology. But then when you have the theories of sociology, suddenly everything makes sense.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Sorry, Mohit, I missed the part when you introduced yourself. What you're pursuing right now?
I'm pursuing my master's in journalism and mass communication.
At Manipal itself.
Yeah,
And
I'm in
what
my
do
second.
you, okay, what do you plan ahead? Is there any plan or you just go along with the flow?
Plan is to take money from government. No, the government will
Yeah,
pay me money if I register in a PhD.
okay.
Yeah, and I mean, why not? I have paid so much taxes. Let's take money
Yeah,
from them for
obviously.
3 years. And it's good money. I mean, I really like the fact that they are even giving money for books, like 10K a year, not a month, 10K a year for books, and they're paying you 30K a month, and then over that they're paying even, I guess, 7K rent every month.
Okay.
Not bad, yeah.
And then why not? Just jump on
Yeah,
it.
so this is the thing is that I am thinking this if PhD, but then I'm also considering maybe ONGC में job मिल जाए तो why not?
Yeah. Whatever works at that time. अभी सोच के
Yeah,
फायदा भी नहीं है.
exactly. No, even I only have what do you say? I only have 4 months. Really, I have only 2 months. You guys have I don't know how many. No, you might not be able to register for GATE at the moment, but then I have registered for GATE as well. GATE 2021 February में आ रहा है. And I have to prepare for that. Also, I have to prepare for the university's PhD exams. So
Hmm.
4 months are left for everything.
Great, yeah. I think we'll have to talk again in the future.
Sure thing. Okay. I'm Vela.
And thank you for today.
Welcome, bro. Thanks
And
a
I
lot.
mean it.
Thank you. Okay. Is that it, Mehul? Do you have any question, Mehul? Okay. No, no, just kidding. You're my only first point of contact. That's why I just talked to you. Aditi is there. Abhilasha, you guys are done. Aditi is there, no? Aditi, double A. Is Aditi what part of the team? Okay.
Hi, I'm first year student, so I'm just new to this group.
You're the Aditi I talked to, no? No, you
Yes,
wasn't there.
sorry.
You were the Aditi that I had initially talked to on that Discord group, right? That's what it's called, right?
I don't think so. No.
Okay, okay. Then you're
Yeah.
the other one. Yeah, Abhilasha
By
was
the
saying
way,
something.
you
Yeah,
you
say
were
so.
really good today.
Thank you so much. Then you could have spoken. Don't you have any questions?
Not really. I'm just discovering this thing, so
Okay. So thanks a lot for the
I
compliment.
hope I'll have more questions later on.
Inshallah. Abhilasha was saying something. Okay.
No.
No? Okay, cool. Fine then, Mehul, let's just be done with it. Thanks a lot, man. Thanks for inviting. Really means a lot. All right. Bye. Take care.